right? So how do you convince me that a ghost can actually go pick his body that is physical, that people can see, pick the body and bury it in the ground? That doesn't make sense.
The sequel to Nollywood director Kunle Afolayan's critically acclaimed film Anikulapo recently debuted on Netflix. While it has gathered a lot of praises from some people, others have one or two things to say about it. On this episode of Itera by Pulse, we will be discussing Anikulapo, the rise of the Spectre. My name is Omowonola Tiamiu, and I've got with me in the studio the two usual suspects. Dami Dawson and Alliojo.
Hi guys.
Hi. Are we ready? Alright, so guys, Anikulapo, the rise of the Spectre. First, what were you looking forward to before you even watched the film? What were you looking forward to seeing?
As usual. Martha, you go first. Yeah.
I don't know.
Say it out. Just let it come out. Just say it as it's coming to your head. Were you disappointed or were you looking to get excitement?
Yes, when you heard this coming, there's a series coming, what did you have in mind? Were you looking forward to it? Were you like, this would work out?
I mean, initially when I first watched the first one, that's the actual movie, I feel like they could have ended it there because as obviously like movie critics, you always want to see like more, but sometimes less is more. So I feel like they could have just ended it there and left it at that, because this series, I really didn't understand it. They were trying to focus on so many characters at the same time, and it was confusing for me though. I like everything about the movie, but it's just that storyline, I could understand it to an extent, but it was still confusing because some scenes were definitely not necessary, if you ask me. So I don't know about Dami though.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. So I've learned not to have expectations for Nollywood films, so they don't disappoint me. So I don't get disappointed. I just watch and hope for the best, right? But there's no expectation really. When the first one came out, it wasn't exactly a great film. The very first installment. So I wasn't looking forward to something great, for the set. I just wanted to see how good the writers would take the story and how good they would introduce new stories into it, also stretch the story,
Yeah.
And I saw an interview where Kunle mentioned that he wanted to do a series initially. It wasn't supposed to be a feature length, it was supposed to be a series. But then the reaction from people was like, maybe you should try a feature length to see if people would like it. So yeah, no expectation for me. And to a large extent, it didn't sweep me on my feet. Like I watched and I said, okay, nothing special happened in the series.
So you said it wasn't a great film, the first installment of it. Why do you think so? Because a lot of people thought it was a
And I think it was good. I think it was fair. I don't think it was, when you say great, it's like you're saying, was it like Titanic or was it like, it wasn't a great film. And of course, you don't depict the Oyo Kingdom in that manner, right? It was just a small space where they just tried to show. And if you're Yoruba, I'm Yoruba. And from what we know over the years that, the Oyo Kingdom, everything that happened there, that wasn't what it depicted in that first installment. So that's why I said, he tried to just, flow with the waters and see what can I do, but then people loved it, but now this second installment, this series would tell you to a large extent if you should do a third one or a fourth one.
All right, now let's look at the second one, the series now. Yeah. Let's look at the story. Let's start from the story. What do you think about the story? Based on what we had in the first installment, do you think they were able to take us farther into the journey? Do you think they were able to clarify some things from the first installment? And do you think they were able to make us feel like, okay, this is a continuation that should have happened?
Oh, yeah. Not that.
I honestly do not think that there was enough clarity for the first one, because initially the first one was basically about greed and selfishness and everything. So him trying to go to the great beyond, and you have a task, and at some point they kind of forgot about the task and the main reason why the whole series even started initially. So for me, there was no clarity. Like I said, I could probably just understand some things, but the main point was there were no dotted T's, dotted I's and crossed T's for me. It was just, let's just see how this series goes. And at a point, I was bored and I was watching it on 1.5 speed.
Okay. So, Dami.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you look at the name Anikulapo in Yoruba means I've got death in my pocket, in my pouch, whatever. That's what it means, right? And it sort of made sense symbolically or ironically in the first installment, right? It means that when someone says I've got death in my pouch, and you're depicting I could actually bring you back from death, like I could raise you back, that made sense to me. So I saw the twist in the name or the contrast between the name and the story. Now, looking to the second installment, The Rise of the Spectre. Now, I did my research to sort of understand what the rise of the Spectre would mean. Spectre had to do with something mysterious or spiritual, whatever. Ghost. So when you ghost, so the rise of the ghost, in lack of a better, so Anikulapo, the rise of the ghost. So in other words, we're taking cue from Saro's death in part 1, and trying to understand, the line going forward. What are we establishing with Saro in part 2? Now the movie starts with Saro going to heaven, supposedly to heaven, right? And he was sent back to go and bring back those that he brought back to life, to go and kill them back. I love that twist, right? Part 1 was like, you're bringing people back to life, and part 2 is like, nah, you're taking life back. So the twist makes sense to me. So that was the first thing I saw. So I was like, okay, I'm interested. Let me see what this film has going forward. Now I wanted to see more character development and story development for Saro's character, right? Because the movie was centered around Saro. But like Martha said, the writer moved away from Saro at some point and moved to Basharon. So you feel like, what are we watching? I understand we're trying to connect things, like connect Basharon to Saro's disappearance, to Rolake's disappearance, but then it felt like it was confusing for them, even them, the filmmakers or the writer. And I would owe them much to also the direction. I don't think Kule came good with this particular one. A fantastic filmmaker, you can't take that out of him, but I don't think he was particularly. I don't think this film was well directed. I don't think it was literally present at all times during this. So it felt like he wasn't directing the film.
No, I don't think he was.
But why do you feel so?
Like he said, there were a lot of things that needed to be answered, like questions that needed to be answered, because you saying that Saro cannot go to the great beyond, that he has to fulfill the task. For me, it just feels like the story just practically says that what God has done, don't go and undo. Be content with what you have. Saro wasn't content, do you understand? And when they started the movie, it's like they repeated the story from before, because that was the same thing. I felt like he could have learned his lesson, because at the point he was obviously still greedy, do you understand? He was still trying to say, oh, you can cheat there. So it was a story of, I'm trying to outsmart the law of nature.
Never shy.
Do you understand? I'm trying to outsmart that. And from there, they just moved character. They just moved our mindset to Rolake and Basharan. It became confusing. So
you felt like the story was a bit disjointed. There were too many
things. The story did not make sense. Let's just go into it. It did not make sense, right? Because it feels like we're just, look at it now. A ghost was sent back to life. And it was sent back to life as a spirit. Or as a ghost, someone who cannot touch a human. We saw spaces or scenes where people were
passed through him.
So so that's it, right? Now it gets to where we're supposed to kill Lai Wasabi's character in the film, and we see where he's touching the roof.
Yeah, and
that shouldn't happen, right?
He's also trying to go.
Now we see where he went to pick his dead body. That's a ghost, right? You go and pick your dead body and you go and bury it in the ground. Right, it doesn't make any sense. Realistically, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't hold water. That doesn't work. Right. So how do you convince me that a ghost can actually go pick his body, that is physical, that people can see, pick the body and bury it in the ground? That doesn't make sense. I wanted them to stretch more on the journey with killing the people that it brought back to life. That would have made more sense.
Yeah, and it could have been centered around Rolake, do you understand? She already had that power, so it could have been centered around her, and then Saro could have just been like some sort of earpiece that is, you know, talking to her or directing her on how to, because how do you like get in contact with God's, I don't even know if it's God's gates man or something, like you get in contact with him and then you go back to the world and there's someone who has greater power to resurrect you, practically to live. So it was just like, okay, which of the power is actually the greatest? Like, what are we? What are we answering? To
just be even, the plot was very incoherent. The plot and the story development was very incoherent. And anyone that wants to be honest with themselves, I mean, not to take away the credit from Kunle, but if you want to be honest with yourself and say, did the plot make sense to you? No, it did not make sense to me. A lot of people would just take sentiments aside and take it away that, if it was a new person that did this film, this guy will receive a number of backlashes because of the new person. And because it's Kunle, they're trying to just let it sweep under the rug and be like, nah, you know, this, that. No, the plot was incoherent. Character development wasn't there. Story development was weak. You know, and you're talking about the Yoruba kingdom. You're talking about the your kingdom. Now you're bringing Ede into it. You're bringing all these kingdoms into it. You're bringing different families into it. Make us understand how they both came into the same story. How the Kurunga came into the story. What's the relationship between the Ede kingdom and the Oyo kingdom? You know, make us see reasons. It's a series. One episode is about an hour or 2 hours long. There's a lot to tell in that, and it's a 6 episode series. Yeah. There's a lot to say. There's a lot of revelation to make. Don't just dump stuff. And that's my problem with Nollywood, right?
I feel like they could have done that in the first 2 episodes. Yeah. Like, you know, character development, telling us, establish.
Let us know the characters. Stories, let us know Kurunga. Let us know how it came about. Let us know what is going on. Let us understand Basharu. Basharu wasn't well established in the first part of the film, Anikulapo. Now Basharu just came. We are still Basharu now. Where did he come from? We hear that he has issues with the king. How did that come about? You understand? Don't just expect that because we know the story. I know that Basharu is like the prime minister, king is like the ceremonial person, leader in the town. Let us understand, because people you are giving the film are not just those that understand Yoruba. You're giving the Igbos, you're giving those that don't understand the kingdom or the practices there. So let them understand. So we need more character and story developments in Nollywood films. You know, don't just assume that we understand and we'll go back and start watching or start reading on Your Kingdom. You know, that was quite disappointing for me.
So do you think that the film should have had like a focus? If we're looking at Saru, let's look at Saru.
I think they should have worked more on Saru trying to kill the people that he brought back to life. There's a story there. You know, he killed just 3 persons. Lion Wasabi's character, late Sisi's character, Quadri, and the other person. That's the 3 he killed. Yeah. And 3 of them were powerful enough to bring him back to life. I don't understand that. What powers did they have before? What were they before? Were they like anything before they died? Were they like spiritual people before they died? Because a normal person would not know what they knew, right? Or you would just say they went to the spirit kingdom and they came back and they knew that, if he buried himself, he'd be able to live physically again. It didn't make sense. You understand? So they should have done more to understand, to let us understand their character. The only woman that died in first one that said, why did you bring him back to life? Yeah. Who is she? Right? Because at some point, she was the only one that could see Sarah. Yes. And I told him what to do to come back. So why would she do that? It didn't make sense. Like, why would she say, okay, first off, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die again. Then I'm going to give you a chance to come back to life as a physical human being.
And then she also says, please don't kill me. So it's like, I'm powerful, but I'm not powerful, but then I'm powerful.
Who is she? She wasn't even well established in part 1 for us to know, okay, maybe she's like a witch or something. Yeah. Because she obviously died and he brought her back to life. So who is she? And even the 3 guys, the 3 ghosts, and the whole thing around them with the palm wine and everything.
Helping Sarah.
What is that supposed to be about? Who were they before they died?
That's just a way to like an assurance that, okay, we're doing this for you. In other words, if you make this certain amount of money, you take care of our families. But it was never brought up. So
but how strong were their characters before they died? You know, you need to establish this. What is the thing connecting the 3 of them? Because we're obviously going up and down with each other. So what is the thing that's connecting them? Are they witches and wizards?
And if we're being honest,
they're just connection was for him to take them to their final abode, to the resting place. So because they were already dead and they needed to go beyond. So maybe,
Sarah had no duty in taking them to any beyond.
So that was what they established in. Like, that was what it was like, because they told Sarah that you need to take us. You are the only one that can take us through that gate. So they were waiting for him to take them through the gate. That's why he had to go with them. So he leads them. If you notice that at the end as well, Bashorun was the one who let them in instead of Saru. When he transferred, he gave them the pass, which the gatekeeper gave him. Yeah. So somebody they couldn't just go. They needed him whoever killed them to bring them back. I think that was the logic behind that.
Yeah, but then it wasn't well established.
Yeah, but I think that was the logic behind that.
We needed to also see and just understand properly. And there was just a lot of disjointment in the film, and it was let's understand the film properly. The Pawai thing didn't make sense to me. The wife, the lady, what's her name, leaving her dad to come. They tried as much as possible to connect everybody. That's why you see the new wife that Asaro got married to.
Yes, the mother was
daughter, and they tried so much to do that. I like the connection in the film. When you watch Games of Thrones, you understand where these connections come from, when you see when the film and there's something Conley said that was really funny to me. He said someone said the film was going to be the Games of Thrones of Africa. That was just a joke. Like, how can you compare Games of Thrones to this one? They don't even... Let's move on.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong in trying to project, something big on your work.
But if you watch Game of Thrones, you could see that there was a development.
Yeah, there is
not here. So, okay. I feel like Nigerian. I mean, I don't think this is part of it, but I feel like Nigerian directors or filmmakers, they have like such high expectations from us because they expect us to just understand like what movie to the beginning to the end, and just expect us to understand the story. Most of us actually do understand, but some people don't even understand, and they just watch for watching sake. They don't watch to get like knowledge or anything. You just watch because I'm bored, it's a new movie coming out. So no, I think there should be more of character development and storytelling. How did this person come about? Who is this person? If there's no time in the movie, then you can as well scrap that character out. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be there.
More backstory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cinematography was good to me, no problems. The sound was also good. I think it was great. But the setting was also not good for me.
Why?
I don't think that depicts Oyo Kingdom enough. Did you see the rocks and everything? So it felt like they went to maybe somewhere in Olumo and they just looked for one.
Oh yeah, it looked like Olumo rock.
They just crafted one box pack. I mean, I like the clay buildings and everything. That was good. But Oyo Kingdom is bigger than that. Don't depict Oyo Kingdom to someone that doesn't know Oyo Kingdom like that. Like, it's just one small area. If our forefathers watch this, we'd be like, nah, this is not what Oyo Kingdom. Oyo Kingdom was, a lot of places in Nigeria today came out of Oyo Kingdom. Even the stories, if you heard about it. So you can't depict Oyo Kingdom as just one small place. So you want that, and those things, you're projecting this film to those that are watching outside Nigeria. And you're telling them about your empire, and you're saying your empire is just one small box in the middle of rocks. It's wrong now.
But I don't think you can say that the series obviously like talks about everything about the Oyo culture. I don't think but then they always open on Oyo. Did you see the beginning? Yeah. And they open on. I mean, he tried to get people, and the CGI was good, by the way.
Yeah.
It
was better than part one, but we probably learned from that one. But the way they entered Oyo Kingdom in the beginning was funny.
All right, so you talked about the depiction of the Oyo Kingdom. Let's look at culture generally in Anikulapo, The Rise of the Spectre. Would you say culture was well represented? Because for me, I remember that there was a part where they talked about Akudaya and some other infusion of culture that I really commend Kole Afolayan for, because not a lot of films get to do that, show our culture. Even when they are traditional, you still might not see culture properly depicted. So what would you say about the culture?
Well, so culture is broad. Right. If I would say the way they dressed, I probably got it right. Right. But in their way of life, in how they lived, there's some things that he paid attention to, like the goldsmiths guys. That was detail. The weaving, the palm white thing, all those things were there. But culture for me transcends all those parts. Those parts play a major part. Like culture, they say, is a way of life, and the way of life is also includes the living. Also includes the location, the setting where you guys are, the place you live in, So for me, I would give kudos to him for trying as much as possible to make use of, the clay, the clay entrances, the mud houses, those things were very detailed, you know. But then still you move part into the story and discover that some parts were not still. For me, I'm a proud Yoruba boy. That's why I say if you are showing this film to someone that doesn't understand what the Yoruba kingdom is about, and you're saying that, oh, this is what the Oyo kingdom is, this is what the Ede kingdom is, this is what all those things are. It's not as explanatory enough. It's not easy to understand or comprehend enough for a lot of people. They should have done more.
As them just taking some sides, not showing us everything, but just some parts of it.
Yeah, there's a part to that. There's a part of showing us part of it, but don't show us. If you want to show that, then you can escape from showing the entire of your kingdom. You can focus on the particular, or focus on the king's palace, focus on some houses, and don't focus on. Did you see the boundaries? There was actually a boundary in that where they called your kingdom. It was like it's a box, it's a boundary. But your kingdom wasn't like that. You know, from what I knew or from what I was taught growing up, you can't just go into your kingdom. You can't just enter anyhow. It was about the most powerful, you know, caliphate or empire or whatever. You can't just. So from what he gave me, I could just use fence and enter the place. You know, you know, it like I would just flow, and those things are detailing, right? There's the costume is good, but detailing in how people perceive your kingdom to be. You can't see a Benin story. You can't see them tell a Benin story like that.
Yeah, true.
You can't see them tell a Benin story like that, because they would let you know that Benin wasn't just Benin, you know. So yeah.
All right. So before we go, I would like us to look at some of the questions other people raised.
Yeah.
And one of them was where Arolake got the pouch from the bush. What would I call them now? Should I say bush fairies?
Yeah.
Yes, you know, and then she got the pouch, and people raised concern that why should she get the pouch? What do you think about that? And then also the priest who said he had the premonition or the dream where he was seeing the Akala. And then the Akala was saying they should do like an atonement to ward off evil and all of that. But, you know, at the end of the day, we never saw that happen.
Can I even ask this? Was there evil, the evil that they were trying to atone for in that place, was it established? What was the evil that they were trying to atone for?
Everything looked same.
Things were going bad.
Exactly. Things were going well. So as far as I'm concerned.
Well.
No, in the film, what was going on in your
storyline? It wasn't
was anything happening in your kingdom?
So like people were dying.
What was happening?
Well, they tried to. I think there was a part where they said 2 people died.
Yeah, 2 people
mysteriously,
died, and that's enough for you to evoke Akala to come. Like, no, people die every day, right? Why did they die?
Well,
let's understand. Like, why did they die? Is it like are children dying? Like, is this something that is happening? It wasn't established. If that was the case, you know, they should have established that people were actually dying. So it makes sense to say we need to ward off this ailment, this sickness, this evil. Okay, then what can we do? Oh, Akala said we should get Rolake. That made sense to me. But nothing was exactly, at least that's why I said story development still.
Yeah.
What was happening in your kingdom or your town that needed an atonement for? What was happening? Did the atonement still happen? Did it happen at the end of the day? So what happened? Because the only thing that happened, the only fight that I saw was when Basharon wanted to kill Rolake and the Corona people came to kill him. That's the only fight. But that fight was even brought in by Basharon. Not because Basharon killed herself. Not because of anything. So what came about that? The pouch thing did not make sense. Why are you giving her a pouch that would make her
the pouch? Yes, giving her a pouch of money.
You know, what was the maths or this physics behind? Okay, let's give her a pouch. Or did she deserve the pouch? Well,
according to some people are just naturally lucky. No matter what they do, they are always lucky.
But then it won't make sense to a lay person to just give you pouch. You know, even when you watch foreign films and you see that they give powers to people like Superman and the likes, or not even Superman. I'm talking about all those when you see that they give superpowers, all those action films. There's a background story to it. They don't just give everybody. You either give someone that is weak or someone that is this one, someone that is that one. From Rolake's film, from the point that she became young again, we still don't understand the water they entered. You know, that brought them back to life and made them young again.
I was trying to ask that. We won't talk about that one because
why?
I think
you can talk about it. You can talk about it.
You said it did not exist. Like it wasn't there. Like
You can talk about it. That No, I didn't
because
say
they were
that.
old. It was you that said they should do like
suddenly in the forest, they had
and
their
entered water
and
Yeah.
they became
Yeah,
young
I beg,
again.
oh.
I'm
Let
very
us say
sure that
it.
they had forgotten to watch the initial this thing to do
Maybe
like
some
pick up,
continuity issues there,
to do like a
but
pickup, but it wasn't.
All right, so if you were to rate Anikulapo the rest of the Spectre, what would you give it, Dami? Let me start from you.
what would I give you?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said everything I said, right? Not to discredit the work or to make it look like, because at the end of the day, they'll come and say, do you know how much you spent to make the film? You know, this is
It's
someone's
not
hard
about
work.
that.
This is someone's sweat. I'm like, okay, I get it, bro. This guy got money to make the film. It was commissioned. I think it was commissioned to make the series. It wasn't like he did it and he submitted to Netflix. I think it was commissioned. I stand to be corrected, but that's what I think it was. So you don't tell me that, it's a lot of work, it's hard work, it's sweat. I mean, anything, but it's work anyways, And like I said, if I spend my money to watch the film, even if it's 1,005, particularly this economy now, 1,500 is a big money. If you give someone 1,500, they'll start praying for you, say, bros, I beg, taxi, go with bless. So you need that 1,500 to go and watch your film on Netflix. And you say, it's not the Aníkúlápó that is there, there's a number of films there. No. So when they tell you something, listen to them. Don't let ego come in and be like, I'm K, you get me. So whatever you guys are saying don't make sense to me. I keep on making. There's going to be a sequel. There's going to be a story that will start from Adedimeji's character, Adedimeji Latif's character, and it might even be worse than his dad. This is me projecting. I've not seen anything. This is me saying, from what I've seen, it might be worse than Basharon. He might go back to get the girl, his girl that he loves. That he might. So there's another story there, So I mean, if I was to rate the film, I'll give it 5 over 10. And I think I think 5.
Ali, why did you have to like?
No. I think 5 because it's a good effort, which must always be applauded. Whenever someone does something like this, 5 or 10 for effort. Storyline could have been better. The actors tried, although the ending was flat. Kunle movies are always flat. The ending. I mean, so the ending is always flat. It doesn't punch. It doesn't. You see the way Kunle went back now. Did he turn to stone? We did not know. Did he even die? We did not even know if he died.
That's you mean Saro's?
Saru, yeah, because we didn't see him working with Bashoro. Did we see him there? So you'll be shocked now in the sequel. Saru will come again. Now this time he'll be selling power. He'll be selling something. They should just kill this guy's character. Let us go and sleep and wait.
So 5. Alliojo.
She'll give it like 6, 7. She's more lenient than me.
She looked at you when you said 5. Like
she was shocked, or is it?
Because I was 6.
I told you. If I don't force you, I'll give it 5.
So why 6?
6 for cinematography. It was nice. Like I said, I don't really know like so much about the Oyo Caliphate or the Oyo Empire. So I will definitely read about it. But he was very, punch hard about it. So, and he saw a lot of things that couldn't have been there, shouldn't have been there, should have been done better. So I'll definitely read upon it and then most likely change my mind. But 6 for cinematography and visuals and every other thing. Yeah, 6.
And the reason why the punch should be harder is because it's Kunle Afolayan. If it was someone else, I doubt it would be this way. But when someone like Kunle Afolayan, with the works he's done over the years, and with what we know that he could do, is doing something like this, and if everyone is practically saying the same thing, then you should pay attention and not see it as, someone is just talking or hating the film. It's valued criticism. Yeah. It's constructive. Nobody's saying, tell us where it did not make sense now. Yeah, just saying it did not make sense. We're giving instances, right? We're giving scenes, we're giving scenarios. So you should take it into consideration and be like, if you're doing a sequel, let it be more developed, character-wise and also story-wise. Then, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm not expecting anything good, but anything great. That came out wrong, but I'm not expecting anything like fantastic over the moon.
Why are we expecting more?
Yeah,
I think Dami is.
There's a sequel. I could bet there's a sequel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Centered around Basharon's son.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I feel like there's more to him. There's something mysterious about his character, but
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a wrap, guys. See you next week. Bye.